The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I have a question for you. I listened to your teleconference yesterday evening. I was very impressed. And one of the things you said is that we need to get rid of the weak sisters in Washington. We need someone with a titanium spine, or you said that you have a titanium spine. I want to ask you about something that's kind of been like kryptonite to some of the presidential candidates and that they avoid it. When Barack Obama released his birth certificate, many experts across the country came forward and said that it had electrical or computer anomalies in it. In fact, we've got Sheriff Arpaio in Arizona investigating it right now. And Donald Trump, when he was on your last teleconference, said that someone still needs to be analyzing that. Do you agree with Sheriff Arpaio and Mr. Trump that that does need to be verified? I mean, we can't just take his word for it because he released a file that it's legit?
Well, I was with Donald Trump yesterday, as a matter of fact. I'm in New York City promoting my new book, Core of Conviction. I met with Donald Trump. He's a good friend, and we have a great relationship. And he brought up this issue again to me and said that he truly believes that Barack Obama needs to answer for what's going on in the certificate, and he felt very strongly about it.
And how does Michele Bachmann feel about it?
It wasn't an issue that I was focusing on when I was in D.C. I just think that I have no problem showing my birth certificate. It's legitimate. It can be, mine can be tested. It can be, do whatever you want to do, because you'll find out that I'm legitimate. I think what President Obama has stood for is one anti-American value after another. That's what's killing our country. And he simply cannot be reelected, because I think we will see a certainty of economic collapse, and I think that we will see potential threats against the United States unlike anything we have ever witnessed in the history of the country. It is that serious, and that's why I'm putting my candidacy up for the American people.
Now, we talk about some of the things that scare us as conservatives if he gets reelected. I want to play a very short clip of President Obama when he was still a candidate making a comment about one of the things he'd like to see come into existence.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
I mean, first of all, the military budget is pretty high. The idea that we need to duplicate that and spend just as much money on a civilian peacekeeping force seems kind of bizarre. I'm sure you've heard this quote before. What ran through your mind when you heard it for the first time?
Well, two things. I heard it at the time when the president gave that, and it raised the hair on the back of my neck. I thought it was a frightening thing to hear a president say. I don't even know if he understood what he was saying. Maybe he did. If he did, that's even more frightening. But I didn't know which to think was worse: all the people who were applauding in the background, or the remarks from the president. We don't need to have a big army here in the United States to keep the American people in line. What we need is to keep the government in line. And that's what we haven't seen. The president has gone beyond all constitutional bounds and limitations. And he's issuing one executive order after another, abusing his power as president of the United States. We need to be very concerned. But people need to call out the president. That's why I'm glad, Mark, for your show. You're calling him out. You're telling the people the truth about what's going on. We are at a terrible time. The country is coming apart at the seams right now, and the president continues to foment this discontent. And rather than dealing with the problem, rather than trying to deal with the debt and the national security threat, he's adding to it. He keeps throwing gas on the flames. I look at this in absolute disbelief. People are suffering every day. You'd think for the good of the country, he'd get off his campaign bus, get off the golf course, and do something for once. Actually do something. It's shameful what this president's doing.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.